Okay, everybody. Believe I just had a a massive spiritual awakening just now. I'm gonna share the videos in the description. I'm gonna leave them listed down. I will give you great warning though. Okay, these frequency vids are not meant to be taken lightly at all. These are very powerful frequencies if you so choose to listen to this. Um, Honestly, just even from me doing this, I recently got in the mail today this Oregon pendant that I have, as well as a bracelet that I got as well. I did this because I realized that they were basic with the non-ionized radiation and all the negative energy that's been beamed around, needed something to definitely, well, not so much as needed, but just needed a not needed, but just decided to just get a convenience to help me raise my vibrations. Even with me being able to catch myself like that, to be able to change from need to get a convenience makes it is already proof enough that it's giving me strength just to bring forth this positivity, because I want to bring forth positivity not just within myself, not just for myself, but for others as well. You know, I've I had this unusual spiritual awakening just now, and let me tell you, I want to say I was gifted something, but it's not something that can be seen in the physical realm of which we're in now. This is something that can only be seen within the spiritual realm. These frequency vids and stuff like that. I'm gonna leave these in the description. I'm gonna have them labeled so you'll be able to play them in the order as they are seen, if you so choose. It doesn't really matter which order you really play it. It's up to you really. But understand that that last video that I made, right? I don't want people to get the wrong idea, because I figured I did take that video, but it was out of context. That's why I left the link down to its original source. And basically, the idea of why I posted that vid was basically me saying that's how the enemy sounds when they talk. Get the joke, the joking, the joking way of speech, or how I think was that guy Anakin Skywalker? I think that guy was Anakin Skywalker. It's been so long since I've seen Star Wars, but it is a good movie though. Well, some of them, not all of them, unfortunately. But yeah, man. And technically, the enemy has technically done stuff like that, murdered both kids, adults, men and women. Terrible things, man. Terrible things. A whole bunch of terrible things. I seek to put a stop to this demonic evil that has laid waste to these lands. It literally just decimated and desperately tried to destroy so many, you know? And I'm proud and happy to say that. But whenever I get up and I stand up, it's not out of a means of hate. Even though not just my enemy, but everyone's enemy has done terrible things. No. I rise up to stop the enemy, to prevent them from doing harm onto others, and preventing them from spreading their wickedness onto others, so that they may not be able to do this to anyone else. Because with doing that and keeping it in check is a way that we can actually exercise it and put a stop to it, you know? The obviousness of a lot of these perpetrators acts that this government is doing, that these agencies are doing, and so much stuff that they're responsible for, and yet they'll smile in your face and lie whenever you start asking questions. People don't even take a second look at what they're doing anymore. And they get it in their head to think, oh, well, like everything's just going to be all nice and good and stuff like that. But they don't think of the consequences behind their actions, and then they're gonna, once things go awry, they're gonna have to look back at what they've done and ask themselves, that money that was offered, was that truly worth it? Was it really? Maybe just make sure this thing's still recording, because I had tried to do this before, but because of the time thing on the settings, I believe it's because it had cut out a little bit sooner than I needed it to. So this is take two, basically. Um, Growing up, if you've seen the other few videos of what I was talking about, how like they have peer pressure and all that, try to create a fabricated self to get to stray you away from your true self, the self that God brought you into this world with, and that true self of yours is that was just a very, very foundation that's connecting to both you to both this world and the spiritual realm through your soul. It's that it's that they're trying to literally strip away from you whenever they try to create that second sense of identity to get you to just literally accept that, while they take the real genuine thing, that essence, that true self that lies within. But you need to understand, when they take this, when if you were to ever let them take this away, you give them that's you giving away your strength. So these gang stalkers, they've long since given away their strength. They're weak. They're weak because they can be easily controlled and manipulated. They're weak because they already since given up. They're weak because they long since given in to the corruption that has laid waste and stripped them of their souls and stripped them of any sense of dignity, integrity, and happiness. There's no way they're happy with them doing this much destruction, because if you look at the very foundation of these types of behaviors, you'll find that people who are the most miserable seek out to literally share that miserable energy with others, whether they like it or not, such as the trait of a narcissist. They say hurtful things, do many different gestures and stuff like that, but I see the truth for what it is. Any of us that may have did something that we're not proud of, look, that was never our true self. Okay? That never was. And that was basically the devil and his influences trying to take hold of us. But the Most High, the one watching all over us, wasn't letting that happen. I want everyone to understand, even when we ourselves were blind and we didn't see the corruption for what it was, and we didn't see the truthfulness that was there, when we were blind, we were still protected. And I don't know about the next person, and I'm gonna say this again, and I'm gonna say it proud. I am, I am very, very glad to know that I was protected from this corruption, even when I wasn't even there. Because this stuff, when you go through a lot of this stuff, like, it really tends to lead you astray. As a teenager, you wouldn't even know nothing or understood anything about this unless someone actually taught you about this. But as you know, they love to cover a lot of stuff up, change things, and give a false off narrative out to literally just lead you astray, lead you on the path of sinfulness, and lead you on a path that'll most likely get you in a state to where, like, you're going to be chained with the scum of the earth, who are most likely going to be rotting in hell based off their actions, man. God's not going to let them enter, enter heaven. That's just not going to happen. But the ability for change is always there for them. They can always turn in their wicked ways and actually turn over a new leaf and stop what they're doing. and pray for forgiveness. It's there. When it comes to judgment on how that be handled, that's not for me to say. That's not for me to judge. That's something that's automatically just left up to God, the Most High. But the more and more I think about it, the more and more I start to realize that I'm a bit worried that they've been like this since the beginning, since they were even brought here. Or maybe it was, I believe it's more of a, it may be just like a conversion of the soul or something. I don't know. I'm getting a little bit too deep in thought, and I'm not really trying to go that far with this, you know? Just trying to keep it at a more understanding perspective on this, not trying to go way off the, way out there with this or anything like that. Nothing like that. So there's an ongoing trend happening lately. Notice how remember how the first 5G tower caught on fire, and then they wanted to blame it on an activist who set it on fire. But if that was the case, why are we seeing 5G towers ignite on their own? Why are we seeing plants dying around these towers? You see, this is certain. I mean, and if that's not the case, then well, why do they have a need to cut down trees around? And I'm talking about the things that would normally kill these trees off, of course. I'm seeing a lot of this, but at the same time, I'm learning how to reject this weapon. I'm learning how to reject the very fabric of what they're trying to do. And I'm getting stronger. I mean, like, super strong as a result. The negativeness just doesn't have a hold of me at all. Like, it just doesn't. Whenever I see something, whenever I see these gang stalkers act out a certain way, talk a certain way, do the things that they do, the only thing that's telling me as of now is how desperate they just want to be hated, you know? It's like they have an obsession with being hated, and I'm sorry, but no. I mean, you could try with all your might, but I'm not gonna hate you. But it doesn't mean that I agree with what you're doing either. I don't accept negativity, and I don't accept hate in my life under no circumstances, because I know because I've been warned that that is what the devil uses to influence over people, you know? Both hate and all that stuff. No matter what, you can have strength without hate. You don't have to hate to be strong, you know? You can literally be proud and be very straightforward and be very strong with your words, but never implement your words with hate, because in the end, that's what the enemy wants, you know? Always have both love, compassion, strength, integrity, and proudness behind your words, and especially pride. Every day that goes by, I pray that not just for those who still remain in the realm of the living, but for the salvation for those who have already since passed too. Our loved ones we cared about, ones we had good times with, all that stuff. I feel like there is going to be a change soon, but it's not going to be the change that these demonic devil worshippers want. I believe people are going to rise up and reject this, and I believe it's going to be a point to where they cannot deploy the troops to deal with this, because of the obviousness of what is happening. And I want everybody to understand, for them to even make an attempt like that shows an attempt of high treason against the people of who those soldiers swore to protect. So yeah, that is a thing too. And that would be the obviousness of betrayal, is the one who gives out the order though. So that's the other thing I'm kind of, skeptical about, is who would give the order for that partake. Is it the UN or the president, the vice president, or someone behind, hiding in the shadows? You see, the main individuals who are primarily responsible for this, yeah, there are these factions, but you need to understand there are people behind these people who are pulling the strings. The people who are mainly responsible for all of this will never show their faces. They're not gonna show their faces because they don't want to be known. There may have been a time in the past where their faces probably were shown on TV. I'm not gonna deny that. But what I'm saying is, like, they're gonna be amongst the people who don't normally show their faces in present times like this, while stuff like this is going down. There's far too many people out here. There's far too many. But one other important thing I wanted to give advice to everyone: if they ever do start to shut down electronics, one of the main things, because even if, like, you were able to protect certain things, like, they can probably just mess with the with certain grids, I guess. So what you're gonna want to do is get one of those traditional radios, right? They're the radios that where you can actually crank it up to generate a systematic built-in of electricity to where it can work. Whew, and it's already like 10:30, so it's already like way past my bedtime right now. And yes, I do normally go to sleep like around 10. That's usually when I just cut everything off and just hit the hay. But as you know, they love to use sleep deprivation, but I'm starting to find more and more ways to get around on that. And I pray that and hope everybody else will be able to do the same. Again, if you play frequency videos and you go to sleep, like that mind blocker stuff, or if you do, better yet, if you were to go to the playlist that I have listed now and look up the videos for